This is Talks, where people speak to people about crafting brands and the power of storytelling. Welcome to this episode of Talks. Thank you so much for being with us. We've been working together and I've been following your journey from both your personal leadership journey and also your brand journey. So you're the general manager of Hans Travel and Lifestyle. You've been in this post for almost 2 years now. So you're contributing to the growth of the company, to the growth of the brand, to the growth of the people.
I'd like to believe so, yes.
But you are also contributing to a brand promise. And today we're going to talk about luxury as a brand promise. Now, one of the things I like about luxury is that it has so many different meanings to so many different people. So for some people, luxury is staying in a beautiful premium resort. For some people, it is that Michelin star 5-course dinner. And for some people, luxury is just zenning away in terms of time. From your interpretation, from your experience of working people who seek this type of luxury, what is the interpretation of luxury in people's minds?
Generally speaking, people associate luxury with a service or a product. As in, you stay in a chateau, that's luxury travel. You stay in our tent in a camp, this is not luxury travel. And there is a part that clearly connects luxury with the quality of the services or the products where you are, right? But first of all, you're very right. Everybody has a different perception of what luxury is. But second of all, I think it all comes down to the expectations and the journey in the service. For example, you are an Erasmus student going back home to meet your parents and you're traveling, buses and things like that. But then the airline
The good old times.
Yeah, the good old days. But then the airline has, made overbooking and they upgrade you to business class. Is that Erasmus student luxury travel because he's traveling business? Definitely not. But what about if, I don't know, Mark Zuckerberg, which we will all assume when he's traveling in luxury kind of thing. If he wants to hike Kilimanjaro or if he wants to do the Camino de Santiago, for example, last time I checked, there are no 4 seasons in the Camino de Santiago. So will that be a non-luxury trip if it's Mark Zuckerberg? So I don't think sticking to the product or the service, it is what's going to make it. I think it's the whole ecosystem around it, First of all, if you are doing your own travel, to what extent that is luxury, in the sense that you are not counting with professionals, you're not counting with concierge, white glove experienced people. So you may know what you want, and it's true, you can go online and book yourself in any hotel, luxury hotel in the world that you want. But staying in a luxury hotel doesn't make that journey a luxury journey. So when we're looking at people that, the famous discerning clientele, discerning clientele, there are some words that are repeatedly constantly when it comes to this sort of manifestations of what luxury is. A discerning client, everyone will have a different approach when it comes to luxury. For example, if you are a billionaire and you have little children, potentially luxury for you is going to be having quality time with them.
Exactly.
In a security environment, when nobody's going to kidnap your child, when you're going to be safe and things like that. For other clients that maybe they are retired and they have done enough, going luxury for them is certainly quality time offline, where it's not
zoning out completely,
right? Out. For some people, it's about see and be seen, the bling bling, and I think every definition is valid. same as we are all understanding that there are different definitions for what comfort is, you know. Comfort for somebody can be to be super dressed and fully make up, and it's like, no, comfort is sweat, but you know. So there are some concepts where it's understood that everybody can have a different understanding. For luxury, it should be the same, and definitely not connected to the actual product or service, because sometimes you find in yourself into these places, and I'm like, I know I'm not a luxury traveler, but here I am in the Mandarin Oriental, whatever, having a bottle of water that is 12 euros and a coffee that is 6, you know, but that doesn't make me a luxury traveler.
I like what you said about, so I've done 2 Camino de Santiago's, and I can assure you there are no Four Seasons over there.
No, I
So
I checked that
I can
recently
vouch for
also.
that. But I think what you're referring to, Olga, is luxury is personalization. Is it? Is that a good interpretation? Is it the element of over boutique? Is it bespoke? Is it ascertaining the customer's preferences, needs, whether it's time, whether it's seen and be seen, bling bling, so on and so forth? Or is it just what suits that person at that point in time? Because you must get so many requests, right? In terms of probably some weird ones as well.
Yeah, but I have signed so many NDAs that if I speak, I'll go to prison. Listen, I tell my team, when you go to China, restaurants are not called Chinese restaurants. They're called restaurants, okay? So when you work in this company, clients, they're not difficult clients, they're not demanding clients, they're not very special clients, they are clients. This is the ecosystem
I like that.
we work at, okay? So let's do one session of expressing how much we hate this level of demandingness, and then let's get over and done with, let's move on. Because this is the ecosystem that we work. So first of all, you need to have an understanding about the demands that you will have when it comes to this kind of clientele. And second of all, personalization looks very different to everyone. Like, the first thing that comes to mind when you say a personalized kind of thing. So I go somewhere and then I see, and sorry, I just remember something that I will tell you in a minute. And then I'll see something like, welcome Olga, blah, blah, blah. And then maybe they know that I like, I don't know, vanilla, and they have a scent of vanilla there for me, and I feel this is personalized, right? But at the same time, I once went back to a really, really high-end hotel, and they had gone into my social media. They had found a picture of me, which is nothing super difficult to do. They printed it, they frame it, and they put it in the nightstand, and they were like, welcome back to your like second home. And it was like, okay, I get what you're trying to achieve here, but at the same time, it's so creepy to find my own picture.
Looking at yourself before
looking at me there. So personalization is not always about putting the name of somebody there. Personalization is matching what you are delivering to the expectation of that particular client. And we have clients that they want to be walked by the hand, literally, for example, at an airport. And figuratively, we're not there.
Yeah, of course.
Although we've done some crazy stuff at airports as well, but that's a different story. But like we know they land, and then they turn off flight mode. And at that point, we will write them and say, we know you're landed.
Yeah.
When you exit, you have to go to B56. That's your connecting gate, blah, blah, blah. And then 10 minutes into it, we will text again, are you close by, where you're going? Because some people have anxiety maybe of traveling. So for them, personalization is this walking by the hand. And that person couldn't care less about the welcome note with his name on it. You know, in fact, we have written so many welcome notes in a funny, witty ways, depending on the client. And they don't realize that the note is even there, or comment about it, because maybe that's not relevant, So personalizing to me means adjusting what you are delivering to the temper, the expectations and the need of that particular client. So if you have somebody who wants to go solo, don't text him every 10 minutes. Yeah, but that's our service. No, no.
Yeah. Okay.
Your service is to deliver to the needs of that particular client. So you need to learn how to deal with them in a way that is relevant for them, not relevant for yourself, like what you think.
Like doing your own little SOP or checklist. It's about the client and not yourself.
Yes, because ultimately, if you make this, yeah, but my vision, my brand promise, who cares? I mean, I know you are a marketer, and I'm sure your ears are gonna bleed, but nobody cares about your logo. No one. You care about it, and probably the designer who did it care about it. Its logo means nothing to anyone else. Your mission, vision, values, and everything mean a lot to you and provide guidance to the people that work for you. Once you leave your own door, means nothing to no one else, because it's not about what you put in on paper that you want to do. It's about what you actually do. And how people are receiving that. And the same formula doesn't work with everyone.
I'm not bleeding that much because we actually believe in here that it is about a human-to-human connection. And I think what you're referring to is this H2H element, which is so important in business. And if I had to take you throughout your leadership journey, including your current role, how immersed are you? How involved are you in terms of the customer touch points? In branding, in marketing, in travel, we talk about experiential a lot, right? How involved do you get?
Way too much, that if you ask me. That would be the initial answer, way too much. Listen.
Is it because you enjoy it, or is it because you want to make sure that the customers are really customers, just like the analogy of the restaurants?
Listen, this, call it business or this job that I do, it's 100% vocational. I mean.
So nice.
Yeah. Because and sometimes I've been teaching in the university for students that are doing, tourism or event management or luxury or things like that. And I always tell them, look, if nobody's going to understand that you are in a family gathering on a Sunday morning and you're looking at your phone because this guy, driver arriving at the airport, and you want to make sure that nobody around you is going to understand that. So unless you are very visceral almost about it, and unless you are fully on, go do muffins or sell shoes, but don't do it. So involvement is what comes with the package, In fact, and now I'm going to do a little bit of my 1 minute of gold glory when it comes to the brand. Our logo, just reflects the ownership that we have. But our motto is, we care to make it happen. And I know it's grammatically incorrect because you don't care to, but it's part of the sassiness. I came with that because I saw the team delivering.
Okay.
I saw how some of my team members would wake up at 3 a.m. just because somebody is checking in Tokyo, and they need to know that they are arriving and the rooms are ready and everything is fine. And then they can sleep well, And you don't do such things unless you really care. I've seen my staff call the hotel and order a salad and some sandwiches to be placed in a room of a guest, just because that person knew the guest would be landing and then taking the transfer. By the time he'll get to the hotel, restaurants will be closed. So at least have some nibbles.
Some snacks, correct.
And that kind of thing, doesn't come out unless it's you really care, you're really involved. So about how involved I am in the touch points, all of it, because there is no other way of doing it, according to my very humble understanding. I'm sure there are other people out there who live a better life by caring less and living more on their own. Having more face down.
Phones.
And, sure, I'm not saying my way is the right way. I'm just trying to say that this is the only way we think it really works. So I also believe, and I don't want to open the melon of hate here, so I also believe that women versus men have a more inclined touch to doing this a bit fullest, because we are programmed for the nurturing part of things, you know. First of all, we're great at multitasking, which is needed when you have like somebody landing and at the same time something happens. So all of that really helps. But also this whole making sure everything is right, you know, making sure that when you get there, you're going to be comfortable. And it's no longer about, oh, this guy like aisle or window seat, or this guy
Ensuring
likes
comfort.
Strawberries. Okay, those are like nice to have, but those things are already understood as part of the job, you know. It's like if you're describing a hotel to me and you tell me, and it has a bed, and I'm like, okay, I mean,
Great.
that much I had hope, you know, from the beginning. So it is understood that we will have a note if aisle or window or strawberries or like smoking, non-smoking, all of this, like the French would say, ça va de soi, you know, that's there, inherited to the job. But the whole added value, the whole extra layer, or, you know, this guy has a toddler, and then, you know, you call, make sure you have the right seat for the car, for the transportation. Because, you know, at that moment when you get to the car and you don't have a seat for your child, you're no longer a billionaire, you're a dad, and you're an upset dad.
Oh, I love that.
And you're an upset dad that, you know, your 2-year-old cannot go in a secured, and you have to hold it. And at that point, it's no longer about how, if it's a sedan or if it's a minivan. No, it's you're a dad and you're
Safety.
worried about safety, you know. So in getting involved and teaching or coaching the team to go beyond, that is pretty much what I wake up every morning for, you know, because it's all about legacy, and it's all about how good you leave things behind you. So every day that I foster some sort of growth in the team by either an explanation or by an example or something, that's what I think it's a good day that, you know, goes on the right side of the vote.
I liked what you said about going beyond, because in my humble opinion, I think that is the main element of personalization of luxury. And one of the things that always intrigued you about not only your slogan but your company name, it has the word lifestyle attached to it. Because travel is travel, right? Travel is something that you offer a service to. The person is consuming the service, and on he or she goes with their business. But lifestyle is so personalized, so intimate. How do you guarantee that you know the lifestyle of your client, of your guest, that you immerse yourself, your team, of course, in terms of the preferential elements of that client, what ticks, what doesn't tick, so on and so forth, in order to leave a positive experience? Because ultimately, when people come with a weird request, weird as it may be, it's because they want something which is positive at the end of it. They want to send you a thank you note at the end of it. How immersed is the lifestyle element over there?
Listen, when I joined the company, there was a lot of wording around leisure. They would use travel to define a journey that you must take, and you don't choose who you travel with or where you go. That's professional travel kind of thing. You go to Frankfurt, not because you're choosing to go to Frankfurt, but because there's a trade show, and you go on these dates because you have to be there. That's when the show
It's
is.
the calendar.
Either you go or you don't, right? So that's the part where you do the professional travel. And then the leisure part is when you get to choose where, when, and with who, you know. So that's pretty much the difference. But leisure for me, maybe because of my background, maybe because my nationality, I don't know. Leisure for me always looked tour operator, you know, tour operation kind of thing, you
To
know,
package
like
based.
sort of. So I started telling everyone, guys, lifestyle, you know, let's do this little switch, and focus on what is lifestyle. Because yes, we do most lifestyle requests regarding travel. Yes, but we also have lifestyle requests that do not involve a travel need. For example, when some clients maybe need a piece of art, or they're looking for a specific watch, or somebody has forgotten the wife's birthday and they need a Birkin overnight, to compensate and make sure they don't sleep in the garage, those kind of things. So those things are also there, So lifestyle to us, it's no longer something that we do on occasion. Lifestyle is what we do from the moment we wake up till the moment we go to bed. And actually, based on my latest dreams, I think also when we're sleeping, because I don't know what's going on, but I think I need to charge overtime or something. Because even dreaming, I am like always
of adventures
servicing somebody. Like, yeah, it's like way too weird. So lifestyle is what we do on a normal day to day, and sometimes there is a travel component to it. The travel bit, it's almost a collateral. Clearly, you cannot do something magnificent in St. Bart's or in the Maldives unless you get people there. And for the time being, the only way to get people there is by putting them on a plane, whether that's a private one or commercial, irrelevant, and get them there, So there is some sort of sexy element when it comes to traveling in a private jet. I'm not gonna deny it, but that sexy element pretty much fades away after 1 hour. Because how many selfies can you take of yourself in a private jet with a glass of champagne? How many? What's the limit? After an hour, it's like, okay, I've done all my social media needs. I really want to touch down and
start my journey.
So the flying part or the traveling part or the going A to B, unless you're taking one of those luxury trains where the journey is the destination, right? Or unless you are on a sailing boat doing a specific route, and the sailing bit, it's part of the destination. Most of the things that we will offer will have a high lifestyle approach to it. Now, it is true that sometimes it's hard to sell things that you don't understand, So I have tried, to the best of my knowledge and budget, to provide my team with exposure to lifestyle sort of services and wrapping, A few months ago, I took them on a weekend to Madrid. I mean, being Spanish, I just had to pick up the phone.
You had to go.
I had to go. It was an easy call for me, So we went to Madrid, and they stayed at a 5-star property. Then we went to the Mandarin Oriental for dinner, and we were at the Rosewood for a meeting, and they were exposed to all of that. And I curated every single detail, welcome notes, handwritten with a name, and they all got a personalized gift with their own embroidered names. I mean, it was a lot of work, but the whole point was to show them
what the client is.
And how do you feel now? How do you feel? We were like 2 nights, I think. So the first night it was like a welcome, no, 3 nights, welcome. Then normally you do like a welcome or like a farewell, but there's normally nothing in the middle. But then the second night, when they got there was a little something with another something. And by the third night, they couldn't wait to go back to the hotel to see what the welcome note and the thing. And I'm like, so how do you feel about that? Now imagine you get there and there's nothing. No note from the general manager saying, welcome back, no need. And they were like, you see how spoiled brat you have become in just 48 hours? Imagine if you wake up in an environment where somebody changes your sheets on a daily basis, and every time they do it are a brand new set. Imagine if this is your standard. And we're not here to judge. There are people who have a certain way of living that goes beyond our mortal human understanding, but that doesn't mean that it's not out there. So imagine we were trying to wait for the bus, and the bus were like 5 minutes late for something, and some of them started like, "Wah, wah, 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 wah." And I'm like, Shh, I cannot believe
You're complaining about this.
you're already complaining. So next time some of you has a transfer and you don't call the driver, where are you? Are you on the way? Are you going to be like, I don't want to hear about it.
You
I mean,
put yourself in the shoes, exactly.
so lifestyle, it is everything we do, from writing an email to responding the phone call to sending out a message. And yes, booking the Six Senses somewhere, it's definitely going to be a luxury aspect to it, but it's about the whole wrapping around it. And it has to start from you, from the way you understand that person is supposed to be experiencing luxury travel.
Olga, I loved what you said, and I round up with this beautiful word that you used, curating.
Uh-huh.
Because we look at curation as something which is arty sometimes. For me, from a branding point of view, curation is how you take care of the brand, how you take care of your brand, how you take care of your people, how you take care of the service, the customer journey, so on and so forth. Where are we generally failing in terms of, are we just giving curation a lip service in the service industry, or are we really going the whole hog to make sure that curation is part and parcel of the brand promise?
You mean in the tourism world generally?
In the service world.
In the service world, service is very service is a word that is used very differently depending on the country. Like you go to Japan, or you go to the Philippines, and then you go to, I'm going to say Spain for the sake of not hurting anybody's feelings, to certain areas in Spain, massive tourism, things like that. Service is perceived very differently. I remember I was in India the first time that I went there, and my toothpaste was not new, but also not dying in agony. And when I came back and my room had been serviced, there was another toothpaste kind of like thing new.
Okay.
Like, just in case you run out of toothpaste, here's the new thing. And I'm like, oh my God. And then the next day, they saw my iPad with a lot of fingerprints, so they left me like, they were calling me dirty now that I'm thinking about it. They were calling me, woman, you could use some enhancements in your cleaning skills. So they left me like, so this kind of service where
Wow.
you observe and then
Wow.
that's one thing. You go to certain places and you almost have to wrestle the bartender for you to get some sort of attention. And when they bring things, they almost like throw them at you. So service, I don't think there is a standard agreement worldwide of what service is. And I also think people's perception of what service should be geographically is very different. Like if you go to Asia, everybody expects smiley faces, a bunch of stuff left and right, and everybody bowing, and like that's understood. Nobody expects that in Paris.
That's true. That's very true.
But
It's very geographically different,
yeah,
right?
I mean, actually, if somebody smiles in Paris, you make a post out of it, and hashtag unique, hashtag never seen before. Sorry, France. But so the expectations of service are very different in the area, in the places where you are. So when it comes to curation, I don't think it's something that you can niche on the industry or even on the country. I think it is even funneled down to the companies. I think there are companies who are really focused in showing the heart beyond the service, and even you go to buy yourself a pair of shoes, and the way they bring the box and leave it there, or they bring it and then they wait for you to put it on, and they tell. I mean, something as simple as selling a pair of shoes, it can be curated, but I think it depends on what the company blood is, you know, the soul of the company, what you really want to make things different and go not the extra mile, because again, I don't want to fall into those sentences that everybody keeps repeating. It's about putting your all in it, and of course you can fail. And of course, the same formula doesn't work for everyone. That's absolutely fine. That's why we try to build a relationship with the clients and understand that, you know, we really want to be better at what we're doing for them. But for that, they need to provide feedback, and they need to keep coming back to us. Of course, you cannot build a long relationship with a client if you only service that client once, you know. So yeah, curation is ultimately where I really want to be swimming. That's my pond, you know, the space that I really want to be at.
Olga, my take-home points from this episode of Talks are two. With your permission.
Okay.
One is to keep putting the heart and soul in a brand promise. I thank you for sharing that. And number two is to look more, to look around us more, to provide a better service.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for bringing your beautiful, vibrant energy to Concept Stadium. And it's great to have you. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me, and anytime.